Marvel Puzzle Quest. We'll talk about Marvel Strike Force's fun on tomorrow's show, but Marvel Puzzle Quest. I don't remember where I stumbled upon this, but they came out with a big patch, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, we totally rewrote our game's engine."
Fucking hell.
And it runs at 60 frames now, and doesn't pause and doesn't hitch. It runs like a dream. And I fired it up, and I did a couple matches. It runs really great, and I was like, "That's your game is too old for you to be redoing your engine, but I really appreciate it."
Is he visible on the stream at all?
Oh, Sleepy Dwight.
Yeah.
Just the top of his loaf. He's big. It's a big panther.
Yeah. You know what, as long as he's fine. I can hear Louise outside complaining.
I'd like to be let in.
It's a nice excuse to get rid of the octopus, by the way. Squid, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured we'd put a little stuff there at the top.
A little something.
Yeah. Okay, since we're running on a time limit, are you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. It's the third Saturday of the month, so we are back, the TVGP Game Club crew, to talk about a brand new game. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And Musum.
Hey.
This month we are talking about Orwell / Orwell Keeping an Eye on You. It's listed as two different things, but
that makes sense.
if you want to find it, just search for Orwell Keeping an Eye on You. We are definitely going to be talking about spoilers this time. If you're interested in this game, it's only like 4 or 5 hours, so not super long, about an hour an episode. So you got time. We'll be here. You can come back. Let's talk about the release of this game. Released October 20th, 2016, published by Fellow Traveler and developed by Osmotic Studios. Came out on PC, OS X, and Linux. Did not come to consoles for, as I found, very obvious reasons. This was released weekly, every week after the first episode came out. So I sort of wish I had heard about this when it came out, because, man, that would have been great to play it every week and have a new episode come out.
Schedule as well is amazing. Like, one a week for like 5 weeks, I'm assuming.
I think so, yeah.
It's a clever thing to do because, it would be literally a case of I've finished work, I'm going home, I'm playing the next day. It came out today, the next day I'm playing.
Log out and wait for another week, yeah. Time travel, Metacritic 77, OpenCritic 82. Peers for the release date, the PSVR came out, so that was probably the 800-pound gorilla. Warhammer End Times Vermintide, aka the rap game. Thumper, which is probably one of the larger indie games that came out that month.
Yep.
Dragon Quest Builders, Gears of War 4, World of Final Fantasy, and lastly, Owlboy came out on PC.
Okay, so I can see where this game didn't get no play at all. I can see exactly why.
So top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked. I think it's probably easy to say overlooked.
Yeah, because Owlboy came out, which was hyped for about 10 years before that thing came out.
Mm-hmm.
Please go see previous Game Club episodes to find out our opinion on Owlboy.
Yes.
Thumper came out, which was widely lauded as an incredible indie game.
Yep.
Awesome in VR too, by the way.
Oh, right.
PSVR came out. Like, it seems like everything was trying to steal this game's thunder.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I probably should have looked it up before this episode, but I am 90% sure the only place I had heard about this game before is someone wrote an article on like Waypoint or Polygon or something, basically saying that this, like, it was like a teardown piece on this game, saying it had a weird political agenda that it was saying or something.
Oh, weird.
But I don't remember the specifics of it. I remember reading it and thinking, maybe you guys are jumping the gun, and after playing it, I don't know what they're saying. They were probably wrong.
Right. Yeah, someone was a little misguided. Yeah.
Well, if they're saying it has a political agenda, it's kind of correct to say that.
Sure.
To tear it down for having a political agenda is just stupid BS.
Missing the point a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were associating it with some sort of the Trump conservatism or something like that, you know?
Oh, maybe reaching a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's dive into what we like and what we didn't like. There's a lot to like here.
Let's flip the script. Is there anything anybody didn't like?
There were a couple times I had issues trying to figure out where the heck the piece of text was.
Yeah.
And like I started a second playthrough and just ran out of time. Like I wanted to see if I could figure out if I could prevent, like you're supposed to be able to prevent the third bombing.
Yes, 100% prevented that one.
Oh wow. Was that the one at the mall?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I prevented that too.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys suck.
Well, it was. I think that was when the game. Was that when the game is introducing you to the yellow data snippets, where it's conflicting pieces of data?
Very quickly after that, and honestly, it's a 50-50 shot. Like that's literally all it is. Like, because I looked at every single piece of evidence I had. I looked at everything to try and figure it out. It's a random chance. You're gonna get one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought for sure, like my second playthrough, I'd get it. I'm like, okay, I already know who done it. I know who I want to wind up going to jail. I know who's an idiot and who I can just ignore. And it just didn't happen. And I was gonna do a third time, and I didn't have time.
Yeah. Anything else I didn't like?
I had minor sound issues, like minor hitches and stuff like that, and sometimes the sound was preemptive. Like, when something serious happens in the game, you scroll to a piece of text and the music suddenly kicks with a crash screen, and it's just, I would load the page, not even scroll down to the bit where that text was, and it would hit that. I was like, well, there's clearly something important going on this screen.
That happened to me a bunch too.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't run into that. That was pretty. I thought that that little musical stinger was often pretty good, but there were a couple of times where it's like, this guy has cancer, da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, that's not the big revelation that maybe I was looking for.
Yeah, it reminded me of that one game where you, like, an event happens and you're supposed to press a button when the event happens, and every time I did in that game, like, I was looking at a wall or something because it was in my way, or I was searching the room previously, and it was kind of that situation in this.
I think my only other complaint would be in the very last chapter when you're getting that final info dump about who's been behind this and what Orwell's doing and all that. There were no real pauses in that. It didn't take super long, but like throughout the game, none of the text conversations or the phone calls were super long. So if you're looking at people or like trying to click on the right person, you didn't really miss that much. But in this one, you can't really control anything, and it goes on for a while. But that's all pretty minor stuff.
Yes. So we should probably actually describe the game, which is to say this is a mouse-controlled representation. A point-and-click detective game, kind of?
Sure, yeah, because it replicates an operating system of Orwell, and you're a detective, essentially. Like, you're an employee of the nation, and you're trying to solve this string of bombings.
Yeah, and the way you do that is you have a profile screen, which is illegal to profile people, I believe, in 2019.
Probably.
And on the right-hand side of the screen, you've basically got a log. Like, it will be like web pages, blog posts, like social media streams. And then the more you find out about that person, you find the PC ID number. Now you can access their computer. You find a phone number. Now you can intercept the text messages and phone calls that they have.
Yep.
And then basically the whole thing is this is essentially an AI designed to read the information on the screen, point out valid points, so you can essentially build a profile and figure out who is doing what and implicate them using evidence that you have found by basically online snooping on people.
Yeah, and like send a whole dossier over to the police, say, this is the person that did it because of these reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in the first chapter or two, I really felt like it was commentary on the whole Pizzagate thing with like the internet sleuthing of this person's definitely running a pedophile ring out of the basement of this pizza parlor kind of thing. But as the game progressed, I felt like it got away from any of that and went to a greater commentary on come on, brain. What am I talking about?
Yeah, like government privacy. Surveillance. Yeah,
of us giving up our privacy and things like the Patriot Act and whatnot, kind of brought about in times of war and pushing things through.
Yeah, I thought the first chapter, sort of a tutorial, worked really well with Cassandra, because I like that it gives you one small objective. Like, you need to figure out as much as you can about her to figure out if she did the bombings or not.
Yep.
And I like that early on, Symes, who's your handler, is maybe not the smartest guy. So I think a lot of his misinterpretations about, she puts a message on her, whatever the Facebook,
tortured by my best friend.
Yes, tortured by my best friend.
That's
He's like,
specifically
she's
the
being
message.
Tortured. It's just like, but it's really interesting because
it's actually funny that you bring this up, because this is one of my favorite points about the game, is because, and it's actually brought up if you go through and read a whole bunch of logs right at the end game, you'll see that this flaw was actually seen in advance.
Yeah.
It's a machine interpreting words as fact.
Yeah, it has no context.
Yes, so it says, yes, you tortured me, and it assumes that, yes, okay, this person has admitted to torture.
Right.
This is what I'm going to put on their profile.
Right. Tortures people.
Tortures friends.
Yeah. And then later on, when you find some stuff about the initiate, then his location, his address is the internet, and you can feed that in Orwell, and Orwell believes that he lives in the internet. It is really interesting, and it is this game is a large cautionary tale, but it's interesting they attack the lack of context in machine learning as early as they do.
This is actually funny, because after the torture incident, I learned real quick, click on every single blue thing and read the exact text that Orwell was going to be interpreting.
Yep, the stuff you're adding to people's records.
Yeah, because there's also a moment after Cassandra gets arrested, where Joseph jumps on her account on her social media feed.
Yes.
And he starts talking to
Julia,
yes.
Yep.
And they're talking about how he can't get hold of Cassandra, and she's like, did you put your phone on private? I know you just had this big fight, maybe there's something going on for that. And he's like, come on, I'm a lawyer, my default setting is private, and it highlights I'm a lawyer and says, do you want to change Cassandra's occupation from artist to lawyer? Right. Because it doesn't assume that there's somebody else talking. Right. It just reads, I am a lawyer, and takes that.
He's like, Cassandra's a lawyer. Gotcha. Yep. Yeah.
So many good touches.
Yeah, and I really like, not a lot of games try to create or replicate an operating system. Because for most games, you're running it on an operating system anyway, so you don't need to replicate any of that stuff. But I really like that they managed to create something that feels like if you're an employee of the nation, you sit down at your workstation. This is the only thing you have access to, and it has everything you need to do your job inside of Orwell. And I like that they created something that feels in universe like that. And they made it in Unity, which I think is really cool. That I'm always impressed at how many different things people can create with Unity.
I guess it's a little bit off topic on the operating system thing. One of my favorite aspects, I say that. One of my favorite characters of the game, and he's my favorite because I've known people like him, and they're such D-bags, and that's...
Is it Harrison?
Harrison?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is. I have known that guy. He's talking to the hacker. He's like, yeah, I saw you got in my bank account. Bet you didn't know. I noticed that. And he knows that because his bank emailed him,
Right, yeah, it's like you didn't really catch it. Yeah, like he's always posturing. You know, he's in an indie band and he's works at an internet cafe and he's just kind of a jerk. He lives in a camper in the woods. You know, like he's that dude.
Yeah.
But then you get heart for him because he's got a younger brother and a mother in a wheelchair, which you find out at the very, very end. And he's got 2 life insurance policies to help protect his family should anything happen to him. It's just like, come on.
And I thought that was really good because when you see the 2 life insurance policies, you're like, okay, he's gaming the system just to get a payday, obviously, because it's Harrison. And at the end, you're like, oh no, he's actually taking care of his family. Ah, crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm impressed with the overall quality of the writing. I think the stuff in social media reads correctly. The stuff in the newspapers reads correctly. Like the health reports read correctly. Like all of it feels like it belongs in that world, and I think that's really impressive.
It also feels unique to each character. Like every character feels like super unique in their specific writing. Like Cassandra just feels like an airhead. Everything she posts, everything she sends, she feels like a bit of an airhead. And
if you look at Joseph, he's always capitalizing, putting punctuation, like even his text messages are very well written. I was like, all right, this is you guys created some character for each one of these people across the board, and I think a lot of games would have missed some of that.
So it all very much feel like real people to me, and I also enjoyed like the game tricked me a few times too. You know, with Goldfell's, his whole situation did not anticipate him actually being dead.
Like I had sort of thought about that earlier, and I'm like, something really weird, like somebody has to be impersonating him, which I got, and then I was like, oh, they're doing that because he's dead, and it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that twist.
Did you pick it up on the way he was writing?
I
probably should have. Interesting.
Well, I was just curious if that was if the game was that clued in on that, or if
it might be,
or if I guess it was Juliet.
Yeah,
that's right, because she stole Harrison's phone or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yep, because he loses his phone. She basically steals it from him, and then sends the thing out on his device, I think. Story-wise, so other than the fact that this game made me feel incredibly creepy and filthy on some occasions.
Yep.
Like, it makes me feel bad for the people who have to moderate like Facebook and Twitter, and that story that came out recently about all of those people and the stuff they have to sift through.
Yep.
Ugh.
That makes me feel like that would be a hell job.
Yeah.
Like legitimately a hell job. There's something about it just made my skin crawl sometimes to some of the things you're looking into.
Well, especially like when you're reading chat logs, it's like, well, they're probably reading this right now while we're talking. I was like, oh no, no.
Well, then it's like you get I've forgotten her name. Is it Nina?
Nina. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get introduced to her, who's a little bit of a powder keg, and then you learn why.
Yeah.
And you learn who she is, and you learn that she's being manipulated, and it's interesting the different like slants they throw on it, because like we said, you get introduced to these people, all these very unique characters. Out of curiosity, I'm just going to run through the major plot points that I had.
Sure.
And then we can see how we differ. So, bomb number 3, I found. Which I think that is just a 50-50 split. Cassandra got arrested relatively easily. She did break under interrogation and give me a whole bunch of information about the other members, and a whole bunch of other links came up because of that.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I don't think I broke her. I think I got close, and she gave me like 2 or 3 snippets, but it wasn't a flood of stuff.
Yeah, when I finished talking to her, I just got so much stuff come out of it.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. I did find out all about Nina's history, and that she was the one who was actually doing the bombings.
Yep.
Yep.
She died.
Yeah. In a terrible way.
Mm-hmm.
She can survive too.
Yep. I had that sneaking suspicion as
Oh,
soon
wow.
as soon as it came up. I was like, I bet she can survive. I really should not have dragged that. I'm taking my gun with me into the thing because that's
literally all it is. Like on my second playthrough, I did it to verify it, and before I quit that game, and she ran off. I assume she survived the rest of the game, but I don't know that factually.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Let's see what else was there. I couldn't stop Initiate on either of his hacks.
Right.
They both happened. I don't know if that's meant to be.
That first hack that he does is so cool because it locks you out of most of the interface, and his text gets all gibberish. It's like, man, that's a cool touch.
So the first time I blocked him.
Oh.
Which was just a matter of you, like, during the conversation, immediately drag it over, and then they'll prep a firewall.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it, like, blinks, and that's it, kind of thing.
Huh. Okay.
The second time I did not.
Oh, so hold on. The first time. Okay, so the first time. What happened to you exactly, Boston, with the first time that he hacked? Like, I'm not talking about the cipher. I'm talking about, like, specifically the first time he hacked.
The one where his text turns all gibberish?
No, like, that's the cipher on the chat program. Like, the first time he hacks into Orwell.
I thought that was the one where you lose connection with Symes, and the OS gets all it gets all glitchy.
Well, there's one before that where Initiate is talking to Harrison.
Yeah.
Initiate says, okay, I'm going to prove this to you. Watch this website. And if you tell Symes about that website, right then he will block it.
Interesting.
I say that the Thought blog still gets hacked, but that's
I think
not
that's a
block.
story thing.
My head's a little bit noodles, but I specifically remember dragging a piece of dialogue and him going and saying, "Okay, oh that's weird. A firewall just appeared out of nowhere that was never there before."
Interesting. Okay.
That's kind of cool. I think the next major thing is probably the end of the game. Did you guys figure out who did it?
I mean,
I
didn't figure it out, but I mean, they tell you, right?
Yeah. Did Initiate use your information to help his argument, though, that it was who it was?
Yeah, so the game presents you with two choices at the end, and I looked up, and there's actually 4 endings. But the two choices are basically, do you want to incriminate yourself and shut down Orwell? Or do you want to incriminate Catherine Delacroix and basically get her out of the picture? And I thought that was a really great character switch, too, because when Symes gets doxxed and has to leave, and Catherine comes on, and she is all business, she's like, I know you've already found out this is the person who did it, you need to prove it to me, and you need to do it incredibly quickly. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, well, down to business, okay.
And then the second you start messing with her stuff...
Yeah, she is less than pleased about that. I shut down Orwell. I incriminated myself and shut the whole program down, because I didn't like any part of that, and I think even putting the suspicion on Catherine would have made Orwell continue or get stronger, so I definitely didn't want that.
Yep, I did the same thing. I incriminated myself with everything I could find on myself.
Yeah, I did that too. Like that whole conversation that happens at the end, Initiate was the only one that was pro me. Everyone else was like, this guy's just screwed us the whole way. He got Nina killed. Forget him.
Right.
Like,
no, he's saying good stuff.
When it came to Catherine, I had the same logic. Like I still kind of wanted to take her down, but taking down Orwell was enough, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things as well where I was tempted to put as much as I could from Catherine in the machine.
Right.
But I didn't want to get too far and go down that rabbit hole. I wanted to actually stop myself beforehand and make sure I incriminated me. So I put little bits and pieces.
I did too, yeah.
Did you guys jump into her computer at any point?
I
Yes.
did. Yeah, I don't remember what happens.
Because I jumped in, I got a stern warning from her to stay away from her computer.
Mm-hmm.
I clicked off it, and then when I went to click back on it, it was turned off.
Yeah. Yeah, when I looked up the other two endings, there's like one bad ending called a half-hearted attempt, which basically like you try and gain access to Catherine's stuff and you can't, and you kind of don't really put the blame on anybody, and it kind of fizzles out. The other ending that I didn't even think of until I saw it is you can actually incriminate all of thought.
Yep.
You get into Initiate's computer, identify him, and then put the blame on him. And there's the ending here says that there's one line that suggests that Thought was created as a terrorist cell. You feed
Yep, I
Orwell
found that line.
Yeah.
I 100% found that one.
Yeah,
It was
and
like,
then that incriminates all of them all at once.
Because I think it's actually a line in a conversation he has with Harrison.
Okay.
It's like a chat log he's got from Harrison and somebody else, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And because his computer is full of so much useful information.
It's a lot of good reading.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, kind of could see where this goes either way.
Yeah. I'm glad that there was a choice at the end, and I'm glad the two choices you were presented with were both so different. It wasn't just, hey, shut down Orwell in two different ways. It's you get to make the choice about how valuable you find Orwell as a tool for the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I like I didn't experience, but just reading up on it, I like how much flexibility there is in this story. Like,
Yeah.
you can get like specific members of Thought arrested, you can get all of them arrested, you can get none of them arrested.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a really cool kind of give and take deal with it, and especially like some of these major decisions we talk about. Like, I really enjoyed. Like, I had no idea you could prevent when that bomb happened. I just assumed in the story, oh yeah, that probably just happens no matter what.
There
'Cause
has to be
that
3
point-
bombings. Yeah.
Yeah, at that point in playing that game, I wasn't convinced that the story would deviate hugely. You know, you never know. Like, you know, when you play a Life is Strange or Mass Effect, like, oh, I'm going to do this decision, and will mostly the same thing still happen or not?
Yeah, the storm is still coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, anything else we had to talk about with Orwell?
I do want to mention I really enjoyed the music on it. It was
Yes.
had kind of this Deus Ex sci-fi vibe.
Never
the guy
really
who-
got annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
which is
it was like-
impressive.
The perfect mood music. And the
Yeah.
guy who did it, his name is Matt McLean,
Mhm.
and he is part of a band called Lilt. And
Okay.
from what I can tell, Lilt just sounds like Orwell soundtrack, except they have a female singer that reminds me of that first Mirror's Edge song. So
Great, I gotta go get
Interesting.
they seem
Hit me
kind of cool.
Spotify.
I was gonna make a totally English joke and ask if they had a totally tropical taste, but nobody else would understand where that came from. So enjoy that reference that's falling on deaf ears.
Okay.
I really loved Orwell. I when Monkey Senior was talking about it on TVGP here a couple of weeks ago, I thought it sounded like my jam as he was describing it, and it's one of the few games where I sit down, I'll start a chapter, and I was like, I'll play for a little bit, and I blow through a chapter, and I have to stop myself from playing the next chapter because I just need to keep playing it.
Yeah, I was late starting this. I think I started it this week. I think I did one day on Monday, and then on Tuesday I did the second day, but I started it late. I was like,
Right.
no, it's 11 o'clock. It's electronics off time. You cannot play the next day. Turn off all your electronics and walk
gotta
away
stop.
now
Yeah.
before it's 3 a.m.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Orwell is a pleasant surprise, and I'm glad that it is even better than how I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. This is one of those games that Game Club I'm thankful for,
Yeah.
because it's like without Game Club I would never play this. I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie to myself and say I would have. I didn't even know the thing existed until it came out of random.org.
Yeah, and I think it's on Game Pass on PC as well. I had it on
Yes, it is.
Twitch because it was at the first and second games were free on Twitch a while ago. So you might own them already if you're listening at home. Although I guess we've spoiled the whole story at this point.
Yeah, I got it through Xbox Game Pass on PC, so
Same.
Yeah, I played it on Twitch, and that was fine. I think it's probably the first game I played on Twitch, actually. So, all right. Any closing thoughts about Orwell? Sounds like we're sort of wrapped up here.
Pretty much. It's a great game. Go play it.
Yeah.
it's awesome. I have no idea how they can make a sequel to it. So
Yeah,
One already exists. It's like, I don't know should I play it now? Should I wait? Can we
Yeah.
put it in Game Club?
Yeah, I'll put it on our game club list. To me, it's very much like This Is the Police, where it's like, okay, cool, there's a second one coming out. I need to play this one, and I haven't because it's on our game club list, but I want to. But let's talk about our next game, a game that I am very, very happy to finally play, and that is Thomas Was Alone, a game that I know Moonpier enjoys quite a bit.
Yes, I really like this game. Thank you, 1000 gamer score. Nice and quick, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So it's not 10 minutes. It's like a couple of hours.
Yeah. Thomas Was Alone came out on PC, PS3, PS4, iOS, Android, Xbox One, and Wii U. So it's on a whole bunch of stuff. I have it on PS4 because it was super cheap at some point. But yeah, I've always heard a lot of great things about Thomas Was Alone. I've added this guy's second game, Volume, to our game club list. And I'm very excited to play that. So
I just while we're talking about Thomas Was Alone,
sure.
I need you to use its full title, please, which is BAFTA winning Thomas Was Alone.
BAFTA winning Thomas Was Alone. Yes, probably multiple award winnings at this point, but
Yes, that's true.
yes, highly praised Thomas Was Alone. So we're going to play that. We'll have 4 weeks, and we will meet up again on the third Saturday of next month. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next month.
Ciao.
And thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.